evening. My name is Jamie Sprague-Ballou. It's been a while since I've done a video. When was the last time? I think July or so. And then it's been a while prior to that. It's been a while, but it's been busy for me. And I just wanted to give an update on what I am doing. I got Fluffy underneath my desk here. My puppy, come up here, Fluffy. Come on, show everybody. Show them how pretty you are. Come on. This is my baby girl. This is Fluffy. She's my little baby. We have 3 dogs and a cat, but this is Fluffy. We had to separate our house because we have Fluffy and this other dog we have, Misha. They just don't get along together. And it actually started with Misha, who attacked Fluffy one day, just out of the blue, attacked her, and we thought we were going to lose my baby here. So she's my precious girl. United Church of Christ. And it's just been busy trying to build a church to do where I went in and only had 5 members in the church that I took over. And I still, to this day, I don't get paid for anything I do. My activism, and I've been wanting to make videos and kind of pursuing a bachelor's of art in Spanish, because I figure if I spend 2-3 years learning the language, spending money to learn the language, I'm hoping I could master it a little bit. There you go. So between going to school, doing my weekly worship services, we worship on Sundays now at 12:30 p.m. here in Las Vegas. So on the education part of it, once I get that, I don't know. I think I would always be interested in taking classes just because I think it's good for the mind. It keeps me occupied and everything. It depends what happens with the ministry, how it grows and everything, see how it takes off. I went to Raleigh, North Carolina a couple weeks ago. I went down there for their HK on J Street March, which is a big march that they have out in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is for a lot of social justice issues, for LGBTQ rights, for voter suppression, women's rights, and they have and it was a huge turnout down there, and I'm glad I got to go. I had some friends help me out, so when I got down there, I had a place to stay. I went ahead and I paid for my airline. I'm hoping that in June, I like to go. Let me get that paper real quick. I want to go Moral Revival, and that's Dr. That, and show up for that. I believe being a church and just be within our 4 walls. We need to be out in the streets, and if you know me, I've been I definitely am an activist. And when I was up in seminary, I went out in Oakland, California, where a bunch of us went down to walk with the protesters and to be out there as chaplains. And we were arrested. And then I went to North Dakota, and I did when they were having the pipeline protest, and I was up there. What was that? God, these years just fly by, that was December 4th, I want to say, 2016, 15 or 16, where I went up to North Dakota with a group of us, again, from seminary. We drove out there to stand. Look at it today, where it's having problems. The pipeline that they put in, sure enough, is leaking, so and we don't listen to the indigenous people. I've had my surgery in 2000, let's see. Yeah, it was October 2016. I had Arizona, and I originally had some complications in the beginning, and that was one because of my own. I push my body too much, and but other than that, now I've had no problems with it. As long as you keep up with your dilation and stuff. I love, you know, um, the surgery was good for me. It's definitely something that I needed. Um, and I'm not saying all trans people need surgery, but I needed it, you know. So it was one thing that was necessary for me. Um, and I know there's plenty of trans people that, if they don't get the surgery, they don't need it. And it doesn't make them any less female or it doesn't make them any less male. We have to really start appreciating people where they are on their journey, divided, and we kind of push each other, you know. I want to touch on some I see lately too. And I do worry about that because I've seen, especially it seems like younger people where they're detransitioning, and um, I have to wonder sometimes how much of it is conservative religious people that if you're brought up in a conservative religious background, that can be very hard on you, and sometimes you're almost indoctrinated. And so that's why I kind of do what I do with my ministry, because I try to let people know that you have a God that loves you, and a God that affirms us in our gender identity, a God that creates us and understands that we are transitioning because that's how we're born, and we're not a defect, um, and we're here to educate people. We're here to teach people, the diversity of. I believe we are to teach people the diversity of God, and how God is a diverse God, not just a black and white God, not just a male God. It's just all these things. God is everything and more than you can imagine. And that's just my outtakes or not beliefs. I just walk with people on their journey, and that's all I do as a pastor, as a person of faith. Um, I'm not here to convert anybody. I would like to also get into and maybe host different people. I want to start doing broadcasts maybe regularly and have on different people from faith backgrounds that we can have dialogue, too, that can maybe help anybody in our community who would like some different perspectives, because I believe our theology is expanding, especially um, and getting established in their faith. New ideas come, and so we're getting to see new visions of God, maybe through different people, through different concepts, different ideas. Um, so I really am in the study of theology. It's my major. It was my major, and it still is. I'm fascinated with theology. Um, I'm glad I didn't lose my spirituality, in when I left the church and then coming back, finding the right church for me and everything. So this is a little bit what's been happening with me. So trying to catch up a little bit, and I don't want this to be a long video, but I also want to just to update and hoping that I can be back more here on YouTube regularly, giving maybe some informative information, sharing myself a little bit more, because for a while I was documenting myself going through seminary, as I was moving along. um, Seminary was a tough road for me in a way, because when I was younger and in school, um, I wasn't I was somebody that was present physically. I'm fortunate that I have my parents and my siblings, my brothers are involved with my life. And that's a huge difference too. Not everybody in our community is fortunate to have the connection with their families. They lose families. I did for a little bit. You know, there was a disconnect from my family, but I gave them the space that they needed to come around to heal and to understand what I was going through. I didn't push this all on them. When I came out in my life, it was what, um, 2003 when I told my parents and my brothers about being transgender. And so, I mean, I was 40 something years old. You know, I I will be what, 58 58 this year. So, um, so it's been an experience. So for me, I needed this done. Anybody that wants to judge me, I can't be bothered by them. If they either accept me or, I'm gonna keep on living. Just keep moving. Um, I love doing what I do, being an activist. I try to be active in as many causes as I can, and I'm trying to make that part of my church ministry. Lies to be able to go to different places and to just be visible with people. Because I think that's part of the church, that it's showing up and being visible, and people are crying out for justice. So I haven't quite figured out how I always do it, other than going in on social media and asking for funding to go someplace, stuff like that. Um, I would like it to see where the United Church of Christ would maybe make it more of a ministry for me, so it could become something where I become representative for the United Church of Christ, of showing up at different places to be able to do that. I think it's good even for the denomination to have pastors and people to be able to go be mobilized and to go to different places. And when people are protesting or, trying to fight social justice issues, that we're present. I don't always need to speak. It's just a matter of just being there with people. I feel that's important as churches, and I feel like that's why I try to make my church where we're active in the street. I go out. I got involved with the it's called like a food rescue program, through the Harvest program, food program. And so they assigned me, I have assigned restaurants, and right now I have 3 El Pollo Loco restaurants here in Las Vegas. I go and I pick up food, and I get the food from them, and then I take it back into the church, and I buy these containers on Amazon. And so that's expenses where I need up buying too, because um, right now it comes out of my pocket. Um, so we package the food and then we freeze it, and we'll go out and we go to the parks or something. And because there's a few parks where the homeless people gather and everything, and they hang out in the parks and live in the parks. And so I'll go out there and hand out some meals. I'll heat them up. First I'll microwave them and then put them in a bag, which keeps them, so it keeps it hot. And then we take it out to the park and out to whoever needs food, because I believe everybody deserves an opportunity to eat. And to me, it's better than the restaurant throwing the food away, because it's perfectly good food. And even as far as that, you figure an animal sacrificed their life so people can eat, you know. So why not make the best of food and to be able to go out and share food? So I'm also doing that. I try to get out, maybe once a week to go hand out food, to make that a regular part of my ministry also. So feeding of the homeless, being and just trying to do different social outreach within the community, and just to let people know I'm there. My doors are always open. I don't have a large congregation right now. In fact, um, I'm seeing this vision with my church where really is never really a large church, but it's a church hub where people, especially in the LGBTQ community, who have been hurt by churches, where maybe we are the church that they can come back into, and we can get them feeling comfortable with going back to church and find them a church home that they will accept them and understand them and help them get integrated back into going to church, because I feel like to me, it's been a big part of my life. Feel like church can help a person grow and be edified. I try to, in the Bible, it tells us to make disciples. My church, if I make it a hub and I allow people to come in, and it's about meeting people where they're at on their journeys. And then they can, because we are a small church, I don't think I'm going to start cutting it here, since it's already 21 minutes. I didn't realize that long has flown by, but it seems like I got a lot to catch up on, a lot to talk about. Again, so I hope I can start making more videos. I hope you will like what I can bring to you or share with you, that you would like my channel, subscribe to my channel. I have subscribed to a few channels. I found this one interesting person, and I guess he's, it's a struggle. He reminds me of, if you ever heard of Leslie Feinberg. There's somebody that always struggled, I think, with gender identity also. And so when we see people that are detransitioning, I hope our community will never judge somebody that needs to transition for a certain reason, because they feel like maybe they weren't called to, well, I guess they were called to transition, but for some reason in their life at that moment, there's something going on where they need to detransition. Transitioning is a big thing, and I think sometimes people need to slow down, though, when we're talking about transitioning, when they before rushing into any surgery. Make sure you're mentally prepared, make sure you're well prepared, make sure you have the right doctor. We have too many doctors jumping on the bandwagon for our community, and I think it's for their best interest and not always the patient's best interest. On hormones without even really knowing them, not having a history with them. How do you do that? I think a doctor needs to take the time, and a true doctor, and that's one thing I'm grateful for. When I went in 2000, and I started June 2003 on my hormones, but prior to that, I saw the doctor before that, and he wanted to make sure I was ready. I had to go through counseling, get therapy, and make sure, support group, to make sure that this was what I wanted to do, and I went through the steps of the Harry Benjamin, and I'm thankful for that in a way, and I know maybe that's, there's people that have severe gender identity. I think I did have severe gender identity, but I'm glad I went through the process. I lived 2 years before starting hormones. It wasn't a rush. Nothing was rushed in my transition, I would say. I got discouraged at times, but I was always content where I was. Once I started on hormones and the actual transitioning, I became content. And I had to even become content, like if I couldn't get the surgery, to be able to live, What if I couldn't get the surgery? I had to be able to be content with that until wasn't the reason why I went to seminary, but because I did go to seminary, and they had a copay I had to take out of my retirement, from when I worked, the years that I worked, I had to take out of my retirement fund. And so I used my retirement fund so I can pay for my surgery. I mean, I don't regret that because it's something I needed. I hope if there's a young person that sees any of my videos that they understand that, take your time, don't rush your transitioning, um, and during your transition, don't rush it. Just try to be content where you're at, knowing that you will get there. Um, you'll get what you need. I believe that there's always a way to get what you need, and especially if it's necessary for you. And I maybe I shouldn't say that it's everybody can do that, but um, I think we have to learn to be content sometimes where we're at in our transitioning. Otherwise, it could be dangerous mentally, and I hate to see anybody take their lives. Everybody's too precious in this world. None of us. Mark Angelo and I think I don't know if they're married or boyfriend girlfriend. Oh, what's her name? Oh gosh, is it? I don't know, but Mark Angelo, I know the guy's name. I guess because I was following because he was on some other a young person's name, Calvin. Calvin, and he's also sometimes has a partner on his show. I forget the other guy's name with him, but two young trans male, and I don't know, but I like hearing their journey too because I think we need to be educated about each other's journeys. Um, there's so many different journeys you hear, and as we're fighting for our rights and everything, we are still learning who we are as a community. It's a process. I think we will for a while. Get to understand who we are. When we talk about trans male to trans female, and then gender non-binary, everything in between, as a community. And I know there's some discord there even, and I wish it wouldn't be that way because um, we all need each other. If we're going to move ahead, we all need each other. And as we try to fight for our rights, I don't want something to happen like what happened to the trans community several years ago when we were left off of bills because it was easier for the gay lesbian movement to move ahead and left us behind. So we need to make sure that we don't do that to one another, whether we identify as trans female, gender to be able to fight together, and let's not leave somebody behind. That's, to me, I think that's important. Yes, maybe we all have different needs, but I think we can move together on fighting for each other. Okay. So today's what? I hope to make more videos. I'm going to try, make it a concerted effort. If not once a week, maybe bi-weekly. Let's see where I can go. So love you. If you tune in, you see this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I'm 2 pages because I have one for my church, Affirming God's People. So if you would also go out to there too and help me worship Sunday mornings Sunday afternoons at 12:30 here in Vegas. So if you're in out east, what, you're 3 hours ahead of us. So, you know, we have, like I said, we have a small congregation, but I'm trying to just walk with people on their journey. You know, when I was in seminary, I went on this one excursion, and I forget the name, of the people and everything, homeless people in the Bay Area. And it wasn't to convert people, but it was more just to be with people. And I think that's what the churches need to do, just to welcome people in. We need to walk with people, because I am willing to bring in and allow in my church the least of us. A homeless person, a drug addicted person, anybody that comes in and wants help or wants to worship with us, I allow them to come in. Unfortunately, and the sad, that's what Jesus was here for, to reach out to those who really needed help, those who needed to hear words of love, those who needed encouragement in life. And that's what I believe the gospel's for. So if you can support me in any way, on my ministry, as we feed the homeless, as I continue to be out and active, as I try to be more mobilized. So whether it's, you can help me $5 a month, $10 a month, nothing substantial, but anything helps, even $1 a month. If you can do that, and like my channel, follow me, I will try to give really, do more videos, and I think we can touch a lot of lives. You know, one thing I also have in my church too, and my nonprofit, Las Vegas Trans Pride, we have binders, for anybody, you know, trans masculine people who want to with us, that sends us binders, GC2B. And so we get, it's called, they're like on, and they see it fit, and they see the image, a flatter chest on their body, and they smile. You know, I was able to make somebody smile by having, you know, an article of clothing that can change a person's life, literally, you know, literally. It's like, you know, before I had my surgery, you know, I used to have to wear gaps, you know. I haven't found any company, if you do know of any companies that where they, could help us with gaps. So for, trans females, we can help them, you know, with tucking, you know. I wore gaps, you know, for how long, you know. That's one thing that I'm glad I don't have to do that anymore. Don't have that problem. But yeah, I mean, um, but to be able to have a gap for some trans female. Okay. I love you. I thank you for, if you watch this video, um, for subscribing, liking, and hope to see you soon. Bye. Now to find, oh, there it is. I gotta move this. There we end stream.